Hi everyone, welcome back to Live Darts. We are here in the Winter Gardens and we've got one half of Sky's magical planetary team, Rostad.
Where is Mardell?
I don't.
Why isn't he here?
He's here somewhere, floating around, but you know what he's like.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yes. Looking forward to it.
We're back here at the Winter Gardens. Right? What is it that makes this place so special? Because darts fans talk about it all year. It's always the Winter Gardens.
Well, as you know, it's an iconic venue. It's a magical venue. It's a perfect amphitheatre for darts. Just walking into the place, and what most people do when they first walk into the Winter Gardens is just look round and look at taking the ceiling and taking the architecture. And it's just a beautifully ornate building, and it's a perfect venue for darts. It's just the right size. We play in huge venues now, obviously 10, 11, 12,000, which generate amazing atmospheres. But this atmosphere at the Winter Gardens is just really proper darting atmosphere, proper darting venue. The crowd very often are the same people coming back year on year. They buy their tickets and they come back for season tickets and they come back all week. And it's just ideal. There's the floor bit and then the balcony is brilliant as well, where you can sit and watch from a slightly raised position and just enjoy the overhead view, if you like, of the stage as well. And you can get very close to the stage. I think the players just love it. They just love the venue. They love the appreciation they get off the fans here. And it's a big one, isn't it? I mean, let's have it right. It's second only to the World Championship. And in some respects, the field now with the format and the qualification system gives you the best field in world darts, because it gives you the top 16 players in the world rankings and then the number 1 to 16 on this year's performances. So there are no mugs in the field in the Winter Gardens every year, and it's, you know, I think it is a really top quality elite 32-man field, and that lends itself to an exciting tournament as well. Is
this your 10th year back here? Am I right in thinking?
Well, me and Pikey used to come regularly as punters.
As a pundit? Is it 10 years?
As a pundit, yeah. I started doing it in 2009 for Sky, so you know, it's very much a period initially dominated, of course, by Phil Taylor at the match play with his 16 titles ultimately, and then Van Gerwen taking over the main position from 2013 onwards. But you know, I think the highlight was when Taylor came back and produced that Rocky Balboa performance a couple of years back, when, you know, written off as a 25-1 no hoper, and yet he swept aside. But he showed no sign of that he would be able to recapture that form. Had he really in any way, shape or form? Hence the big price from bookmakers. But you know, he just to beat, you know, an amazing succession of opponents in like Price and Barneveld, and Van Gerwen and Peter Wright and Lewis in semi-final, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was just one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in sport, never mind in darts. But yeah, I really enjoy coming back here. It's always something that you know, marked on the calendar, ringed in red.
Obviously, it's a darts venue that we all think, but is it one of the iconic sporting venues in the UK?
Yes, I think that's a very fair shout, Phil. I really do. You know, I mean, the Circus Tavern was magic. I mean, it really was the spiritual home of darts. But this venue has great longevity. Since 1994, it's, you know, we've been here 25 years now at the same venue, and it has that wonderful familiarity to it when you arrive there. You know, it's really like the Crucible Theatre. These venues that are iconic, that people that follow the sport on television really, it's a great thrill to go there for the first time, and for the players. And you know, just seeing Glenn Durrant here is not playing today, but you know, has come just for a look round. It's a great thrill for him to be able to look at the possibility of playing on the Winter Garden stage. So I think the players respect the venue, and the fans love it too. It's an iconic venue.
Moving on to this year's tournament, there's some questions that need to be answered for once. Normally we come here and everyone's in great form.
Right.
One, the world number one, the world champion. Is there a crisis yet for Michael Van Gerwen, or are we looking too much into this?
Well, it's funny really, because you know, this happens quite regularly, because last year, if you remember the Premier League, I mean, he produced that epic performance against Michael Smith when he just annihilated a world-class player, and yet within a few weeks, because he got knocked out by Desvan, everyone was talking, oh, crisis again, Van Gerwen's in trouble, you know, what's going on there? So I think you be very, very careful not to forget what happened not so long ago when he won the Premier League again. But I mean, his recent performances have been, well, let's have it right. They've been filth by his standards. I mean, they've just been poor, ordinary, worse, terrible, awful. You know, use any adjective you want. His last 11 games, he's averaged over 100 once. Well, that's just unheard of. Normally it's the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's averaged under 100 once. But I think you'd be foolish to read too much into a couple of defeats in World Series games to Michael Smith in America and Martin Schindler in Germany. I mean, did they? I mean, look, I'm not saying he didn't want to win, but is it that much of a crisis if he doesn't win a World Series event? Does anyone remember who win the World Series events?
No, they're not ranked. They're not up there for what
they're not ranked. I mean, it's a great thrill for Nathan Aspinall to win. It was a great run by Clemens as well. That's great for that level of player. But Michael van Gerwen is not that level of player, and those tournaments will not really register on his radar. So, but you're quite right to raise the question. If he comes out and plays poor against Steve Beaton and averages 90, and gets beat, then people are going to say, well, what's going on here? Because this run has now gone on for three weeks, 3 tournaments, and one of them is a really big event, and there will be no excuses for Michael. I mean, last year they'd just come from Vegas, hadn't they? Yeah. And so there was a ready-made excuse. There'll be no excuses if he gets beat by Steve Beaton this time, and there'll be no excuses if he doesn't go on to win the tournament. He knows that. He knows that. So,
in terms of style, if Michael van Gerwen could have handpicked one person to play in the first round,
yeah,
would it have been Steve Beaton in terms of style and logistics and everything like that?
Look. I mean, everyone loves Steve. He's just a great guy and a world-class darts player, and he has been a world-class darts player for 2 decades. But let's be honest. There'll be opponents that Michael could have picked there that would have been maybe that he wouldn't have wanted to play, and I'm sure he's quite happy to have drawn Steve with the greatest respect. He's beaten him on the stage before. He's had 9 darter on this stage against Steve.
Pace
before.
as well. They're very similar. They just get on with it.
And I just can't see Steve being able to dent the artillery of.
I'm with you. I just don't see it.
I think Michael will win, but he's got a hard. After that, the draw starts to get quite tough, doesn't it? When Lewis and Dozer waiting, one of those waiting, obviously. Menzies in the section.
Michael
Gary
Smith,
Anderson,
Nathan Aspinall. The top half is stacked.
But I don't think, I don't think Michael van Gerwen will be worried about that. I mean, he knows that he brings his A game to any darts match he wins. That's the end of it. There is no debate. There is no match. So if he doesn't worry if he plays Gary Anderson, Kyle Anderson or Pamela Anderson. It doesn't really matter which who turns up because he knows if he plays his A game, he'll beat anybody. So I don't think he'll be worrying about the draw. I mean, we're looking at it thinking that looks tough, but I don't think that'll enter Michael's head really.
The other one, defending champion Gary Anderson.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all know the well-documented problems at the beginning of the year, taking a lot of time off. He's now back playing, but is he ready to defend his title? We've seen moments of brilliance on his return, but we've also seen a lot of mediocrity as well in between.
Yeah.
How ready do you think he is to defend his title?
We're guessing, obviously, because until he gets on the stage and plays Danny Nopper, we're not going to know for sure. But what you can base it on is the World Cup, which is the most important tournament he's played since coming back. I know there was World Series and Pro Tour events, but for Gary that was a big tournament. It was a big tournament for Peter Wright as well, and the pair of them were very proud to win that World Cup for Scotland, and it was a big deal for them. And they played a great final, didn't they, against the Irish? It was a great match. So I thought Gary in that World Cup in the main was excellent. I know they're only short matches, and there's some pairs play as well, but I thought Gary was excellent. I think he looks fit and well, looks healthy, looks more relaxed. I just think he was just finding it a relentless grind playing in every tournament, and I was say at his ripe old age, he's still younger than me, but he feels at the age he is as a sportsman, he doesn't want to do that anymore. It's not good for him. He's got a young family with Rachel, and he wants to spend more time with Rachel and the family, and that's great. And he's prioritising that, and I could not fault a man for that. So I think he's going to prioritise darts tournaments, and when he comes to tournaments, I think he'll be at it. And I expect him to play well and beat Danny Nopper.
We all know you love a flutter as well. We're going to ask you to pick.
Who told you that? Mard, was it?
Obviously, Van Gerwen,
Yeah.
not odds on for a change
Yeah.
for the Van Gerwen punters. Was there anyone else that stands out apart from Van Gerwen?
Well, I mean, good luck to punters who backed Peter Wright at 25-1 a fortnight ago before he just caught light snaky, hasn't he? It was just a brilliant run from Snakebite because he won the World Series event and then the 2 Pro Tours. It was absolutely superb, wasn't it? A Pro Tour. I mean, just a relentless standard of excellence, repeated match in, match out, wasn't it? Against good opponents. So if Peter comes and plays like that, then he's obviously a major threat. A man who's been in the final before, losing to Phil Taylor. So, but maybe the value's gone there. If you got him at 25-1, brilliant. I'm not sure you would want to back Peter at 10s. I think Rob Cross, based on the way how consistently he's played in the Premier League, 100 average most weeks. I think Rob Cross is probably the man in the bottom half of the draw. Could it be a repeat the Premier League final and Van Gerwen against Cross?
You wouldn't back against it.
You wouldn't back against it, would you? No, I know that's maybe a little bit predictable, but the field is so strong though, Phil. You know, who's to say that someone couldn't do a Jeffrey Desvan from last year, or how good was he, you know, to beat Van Gerwen? But not only to beat Van Gerwen, then to repeat that level of performance and really, you know, get under Gary Anderson's skin in a great semi-final. So, and Joe Cullen played brilliantly, didn't he, as well? So, all those guys that are non-seeds, I think, fancy that, you know, they're good enough to make an impact. So, I'm going to say Cross each way for me, but I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a lurker in there, you know, like Dozer or somebody. We'll see.
Rod, absolute pleasure. Thanks
My
so
pleasure,
much for
Phil.
the live dance, mate. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Good to talk to you, Phil.